Hi, and welcome to Food Allergy Canada's Allergy Pals Monthly. I hope you've all had a great summer. My name is Arianne, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our second session. Our regular mentor, Julia, couldn't make it tonight, but I'm super excited to lead a fun session today. If you were here last time, here's how it works. We talk about a certain topic, have fun polls, interact with activities and questions, and answer time at the end. This month's theme is a very timely one, which is back to school with food allergies. So I hope everybody's ready to get started. So today's theme is back to school with allergies, which is very timely considering September is right around the corner. So today we're going to be featuring some stories, some trivia, some games, some question and answers, polls, and more. So let's get started. All right, guys, so here's your first poll question. So I want to know what grade everybody's going into. Oh, I see a lot of 3 and 4, few 5 and up, and a couple of 1 and 2. Oh, look at that. A lot of grades 3 and 4. That's so exciting. So the majority of you guys are going into 3 and 4, but we definitely have a few older kids here too. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about all of this. All right. Go. All right, so just a little about me. Hi, my name is Arianne, and I'm allergic to peanuts and tree nuts and freshwater fish, that's like perch and stuff, and sesame seeds. And my hobbies include traveling and reading and watching movies. And my favorite school subjects growing up were English, history, and geography. And I think my favorite year of school is probably grade 6, and it would be because I just had the best teacher that year. He was so engaging, and I learned so much from him, and I think that was definitely my best year of school. So I'm really excited to get to talk to everybody here about school today. All right. So we're getting into our second poll question. So I want to know what everyone's favorite class is. Definitely a lot of gym, some science. That's great. Awesome. Well, it was a tie between math and gym. I definitely enjoyed gym when I was younger too. I really loved volleyball. So let's talk a bit about the first things we think about when school comes to mind. So type in the question box the first thing that comes to mind when you think about school. There we go. So friends, that's definitely a big one. It's always nice to go back to school and see everybody you haven't seen over the summer. Lots of work is definitely another one. We all have to put in the time to learn these subjects. Homework, very true. Homework can be fun. Who your teacher is going to be, that's always a big question. Oh, a few of you have said I don't want to go, which I get, but school is definitely fun, and it's a great place for you to see your friends and to learn and to discover new things. And I see math is here again too, which is great considering a few of you said it was your favorite subject. And I see someone has finally said food allergies, and that's definitely a big thing. So today, guys, we're here to talk about food allergies in school. So I'm glad someone brought up that the first thing they think about when they go back to school is their food allergies. So I want you guys to raise your hand, and you can find the hand signal in your GoToMeeting control panel, and tell me why you sometimes find it hard to have food allergies at school. So do you guys think that sometimes it's hard to have food allergies at school? I see a few hands. Yeah, definitely. So like we did before, how about in the chat box you tell me why it's hard? Like what makes it hard to have food allergies in school? So someone says that I don't like to be centered out, which is definitely true. You definitely are kind of put under a spotlight when you have a food allergy in your classroom. So someone else said not eating what other kids eat. And that can definitely be tough if you're not having the same snacks or participating in parties and stuff like that. So someone said they're worried about having a reaction, which is very true. So someone pointed out that it's hard to be aware of their allergies at school, and I get it, guys. I hear you. And you know what? All of these answers are right. And they all need to be things that we think about and talk about openly like this, so we can make a difference and maybe hopefully make our school year not so hard. So I think opening up and talking about it this way is a great way to kind of ease the tension and not make it so hard in our classroom. Whoops, there we go. So I just want to know from you guys, what do you think would make it easier having a food allergy in school? So do you think maybe talking to your classmates about your allergies on your first day of school? Maybe it's classmates talking about your allergies seriously, maybe having a really good discussion with them about why it needs to be taken seriously and what they need to know. Or maybe it's your classmates or your school not being allowed to share food or snacks so you don't feel left out, or so you don't worry about what's being passed around. Or maybe it's less outside food of lunch and snack time. So maybe we're not giving away treats as like prizes for quizzes, or maybe we're not having like cupcakes at birthdays and stuff like that. So what I want to know from you guys is what you think is easier about, or what would be easier having a food allergy at school. So I see a lot of people are saying not sharing food or less food outside of lunch and snack time. And that's really great. I think that's a great way to do it. Oh, I see a lot of people are saying classmates knowing about your allergies. And I think open discussions about your food allergies, especially within your classroom, maybe with your classmates or your teachers, definitely a great thing. It's always great to put it out there and have open dialogue so everybody knows and understands. Oh, it looks like we have a three-way tie. Wow. It looks like we have a tie between your classmates knowing about your allergies, taking them seriously, not sharing food, and then it looks like less food outside of lunch and snack time won out. And I think there are no wrong answers here, guys. I think all of these are great options, and I think they're all very important and something that you should explore in your classroom so you know that you feel safe. All right, guys, so how about we practice a little bit? So a lot of things can make it easier in your classroom, whether it be talking or, like we all agreed on earlier in that poll, less food outside of snack and lunchtime. So if you had a classmate, like the word bubble here, so what would you do if you had to tell a classmate in this situation? So you're allergic to my snack. Why don't you try some? Just a little bit. It won't hurt you, right? So what would you do in that situation? So someone said, not even a little bit, it can hurt me. Someone said, it can't, it might hurt me. Someone also said, I would say no, just straight up no. We also have, I can't, I'll get sick, and I may have to use my auto-injector to go to the hospital. So these are all great answers, guys. There's no wrong answer here. So someone also said no thank you, which is very polite. I think the most important thing in this situation is to remember your level of comfort. So whether you're more comfortable being kind of funny about it and saying, no, I can't be around it, or being very serious, like we discussed earlier, having a very serious conversation with them and saying, this is why I can't have this and it will hurt me, or whether you just want to remove yourself from it completely and talk to an adult like your teacher or your principal or your parents or something. As long as you feel comfortable and as long as you are taking control of the situation, there's no wrong answer. So does anybody else have one last thing that they would say in this situation? If someone were to say, you're allergic to my snack, why don't you just try some a little bit? It won't hurt you, right? So our last one is, yes, it will. It is very serious. And that's completely right, guys. I want all of you to be confident in your voice to say no and remove yourself from a situation that you feel uncomfortable with. Oops, there we go. All right, so let's brainstorm. What's one thing that you do to stay safe at school with your food allergies? So why don't you type it in the question box? What's like the one thing before each year when school starts that you do to stay safe? So it could be before school starts, it could be all throughout the year. One thing that you do to stay safe. So someone said don't share food. That is great. That's a great way to stay safe because you always know what you're packing from home and if it's safe or not. So someone said practice your EpiPen, your auto injector. It's always great to have a refresher on how to use it and everything. Someone said be careful around my friends when they're eating. That is very good. You should know what your friends are eating, and if they're eating something that you don't feel comfortable being around, maybe you just go sit with someone else for a little bit or ask them to wash their hands after they're done eating. Someone said check the rooms for things I'm allergic to. Good idea. If you're going into, say, a shared lunchroom or a classroom that had food in it before, it's definitely a good idea to scan the area and make sure there's nothing left. Someone said wipe out my locker. That's true. Ooh, this is a good point. Someone brought up, my mom talks to my teacher at the beginning of the year and gives them a new emergency plan. So guys, an emergency plan is like a form that your teacher or your principal or someone in charge that will have that lists all of your food allergies, all of your contact information. It could have signs and symptoms of a reaction and what to do in case of a reaction. It is a great tool to have in a classroom so everybody knows what's going on. They know what they can and can't have, how to spot a reaction, and most importantly, it knows where your auto injector is. All right, so the last one we have is I only eat food from home. That's definitely good. I think that falls under the not sharing food or less food outside of snack time and all of that. All right, so our last one is I wear my EpiPen or auto injector each day, which is a great point, and it leads us into our next slide. So I think one of the best ways to stay safe at school is always having your epinephrine on hand. So hands up like we did before. Does everybody here know how to use their epinephrine? Oh, I see a lot of hands up. That's great. All right, so hands down. Do your friends know how to use your epinephrine? Well, I see a few less hands up for your friends knowing how to use it. So guys, I want you to know that you should never be afraid to use your auto injector. It is there to help you. It is there to be there. It's there for you. I never want you to be afraid or scared of it. I want you to act and not wait. So if you're ever feeling uncomfortable or you're unsure or anything like that, you should go to an adult or someone in charge, your friend, something, and let people know. Never be shy, never be embarrassed, never feel like you're putting someone out or you're troubling someone else with this. It is so important to get help when you need help. So it's also really important to have your auto injector with you at all times. And it's also really important to teach your friends about it. So I saw a lot of hands not kind of go up when we were talking about if your friends know how to use it. So we talked a little bit earlier about emergency action plans. And that's a great way to get the conversation rolling with your friends and with your teachers about how to use your auto injector, where you keep it at all times, and stuff like that. So maybe tonight or in a week leading up back to school, it's a great time to talk with your parents about your allergies and what symptoms can look like and when to use an auto-injector. So maybe after the session tonight, you sit down with your mom or your dad or whoever and you kind of work out this emergency plan with them, or you work out signs and symptoms of a reaction or what to do in an emergency. It's always great to have a plan, right? Awesome. All right, so here, our next poll question, guys, is where do you keep your auto-injector or your epinephrine when you're at school? So when you're at school and you're in the classroom, where's the one place that you keep it? I see a lot of people are sitting at the office or in a bag. A lot of people are saying in their bag. All right, it looks like we have another tie for second between the office and the bag, your bag or around your waist or with a teacher. That's great, guys. So it is important as we get older to always keep our auto-injector on us. So even though we're in one single classroom now in like younger grades, as we get older, you're going to be going to different classrooms for different subjects, or you might be traveling for sports or something like that. So it's great to get into the habit now of always having your auto-injector on you. Maybe it's in a bag, maybe it's in like a belt around your waist, just someplace that's always close to you, and always make sure the people around you, like your friends or something, know where it is. There we go. All right, so how about a little bit of a game? So guys, we're going to play Allergy Wheel of Fortune. So I'm going to slowly reveal letters of a special phrase. I want you guys to type your guesses into the question box. First one to guess the correct phrase wins. I hope everybody's ready. All right. Here we go. All right, it is a phrase. Does anybody want to take a guess now? Does anybody think they have the right answer? No? Okay, how about we try for a few more letters? All right, we have a T. No? No takers? All right. Oh, there's an H. We're getting a little closer. We're thinking a little bit about it. I'm not sure. How about you guys? Would anybody like to buy a vowel? All right, here's an A. So what kind of phrase has to do with school and food allergies? All right. It's an extra letter. Do we have any guesses? Any ideas? Okay. We've got an S now. No? All right, how about another vowel? That should help out, eh? Well, it looks like we have a winner. How about everybody else? Keep guessing. So our winner was Ilse, if I'm not mistaken, followed by Bethany and Peter and Colin. Great job, guys. So it's important to not share food at school, and I'm super glad we got to play that game. Awesome. All right, guys, so I'm going to tell you a little story about myself. So this one time when I was in school, there was another teacher that was having a retirement party in like a separate classroom. So our class was invited to pop in and say goodbye and everything. So when I showed up to the classroom, I noticed there was unsafe food all around. And I talked to my teacher about it, and my teacher told me that I should be fine. I did not agree. So I want you guys to raise your hands like we did before if you have ever been in a situation where an adult told you a food should be safe. So has anybody been in that kind of situation? It looks like a few people have. Yeah. I think we've all kind of been in a situation where an adult told us that we should be safe around a certain food and we didn't agree with them. Does anybody else agree? Yeah. All right, guys, so I have a bit of a poll question for you now following that. So I want to know, what would you guys do in my situation? So if you were me and you were visiting this other classroom and there was unsafe food around, what would you do? I see a lot of people are saying, tell your teacher right away that you feel uncomfortable, or not enter the other classroom and wait outside. Well, I've got a few people saying go in and not touch any of the food. I've got most of everybody saying tell your teacher. All right, guys, so it looks like the majority of you said tell your teacher right away that you feel uncomfortable, and that is a great way to deal with the situation. So we kind of talked a little bit earlier about being vocal and starting a conversation, right? So this is a great way to really take control of your situation by telling your teacher that you don't feel comfortable. And there are no wrong answers in this situation. What I want you to take away from this is to trust your gut. So I want you guys to feel comfortable and safe in any situation, right? So if you don't feel comfortable, or if you feel like it's unsafe, or if you feel like it's a situation where you don't want to be in it, remove yourself from it. It's 100% okay to say, I don't feel right about this. May I please just go to the office if you were in a situation like I was in? Or it's 100% completely okay to say, I don't feel right, safe about this, and explain why. They're not going to get mad at you. No one's going to say you're wrong. They're going to respect the fact that you were vocal about your food allergies. And that's a really important thing to take away about being in school with your food allergies, is being vocal and saying when you're uncomfortable. And most importantly, just trust your gut. Know how you feel and when you feel that way. It's touchy because adults are usually right. So usually we trust our teachers about this kind of stuff, right? But sometimes we need to trust our gut and what our parents have taught us. So just remember that, okay? All right, guys. So now we're going to get into some question time. So we have a few rules for question time. So no parent questions. We just want to hear what you kids have to say in this matter. So you guys either have the option to type your question in the question box like we've been doing before, or raise your hand to be unmuted. So when you raise your hand, I'll see your name out loud, and then I'll unmute you, and that's your opportunity to say your question out loud over the phone. So just a few things to remember about questions. Keep it short and sweet. We don't give any medical advice, sorry. So one question each, and if there's time, we can get to 2 questions. So is everybody ready for question time? All right, guys. So I believe we have our first question, which is, what are alternatives to food for classroom treats and rewards? I think that is a great question. Sometimes teachers give out candy, something like that, when you get a test right or something. So what are some alternatives, or what can you do or suggest for alternatives? So there are lots of things. You can suggest stickers, pencil toppers, or even allowing extra time for computers or games or something like that. Or rewards like reading outside or no homework pass or something along those lines. So maybe go about like having students get to choose music to play for the class, or have special privileges for the day. So there are so many options outside of food. So just know that you're not limited when it comes to that kind of stuff. So does anybody have any other questions? So I see there are a few hands raised. So why don't we try? Ilsa, I'm going to unmute you, and then you have a chance to ask your question, okay? So unmute. All right, you're unmuted. So if you can hear us, why don't you ask your question?
Do you have any ways any suggestions how to handle bullying at school about food allergies?
Awesome. That's a great question. And bullying is a really serious thing, and I definitely hear you when you say that. And I think my number one answer would be to talk to an adult. So either talk to your teacher, your principal, or your parents and let them know what's going on. Tell them the situation, be very open and honest about it, and don't be shy about it. So as long as you go to an adult, they can walk you through the process. Thank you so much for your question. All right, so we have another question that says, how can I stop feeling bad about what everyone else eats that I can't have? So I think the best way to stop feeling bad is remembering all the great things you can have. If you think about the special treats that you get, or the awesome food you eat at home, or the special privileges that we talked about earlier for rewards and treats and stuff like that, instead of thinking about what you can't have, we should always focus on what we can have. We should see the positive side of things. And I know it can be tough, and I know that seeing that silver lining can be a little tricky sometimes, but if we just remember that we're very fortunate and there are so many things available to us, I think we'll be okay. Thank you so much for that question. So someone else said, what if you accidentally eat something that may have peanuts or your allergen in it? So my first suggestion would be go to an adult right away. Go talk to your teacher, bring your auto injector with you, tell them that you think you ingested something or you did ingest something, and they'll act right away. So like we talked about a little bit earlier, never be scared to use your auto injector. It's there to help you. Never be scared of it. Thank you so much for that question. All right, so we have another question, which is, how do you tell your friends about your food allergies? So I would say in a way that makes you feel comfortable. So however you feel comfortable explaining to them. Some people use humor. Some people are very serious about it. Maybe one way you can talk to your friends about your food allergies is practice on your parents. You could do a little role playing with each other. They can play your friend and you can be yourself, and you can work out different ways to talk to them about your food allergies. It's a good idea to do it sooner rather than later, though. And remember, you're not likely the first person they know with allergies, so it's not really a big deal. Don't be scared or nervous, okay? That's a great question. All right, we're going to go to the phone now. So Jay Baker, I'm going to unmute you, and then you can say your question.
Okay, so I have a question, and what is the first thing we do after we eat something that we're allergic to? What is the first thing we do if we don't have our auto injector?
So the first thing you should do is get help. Go tell an adult, go tell anyone you can. You need to get help right away. And firstly, you should have an auto injector either on you or in a classroom or something, and if you don't have that, call 911 right away. So if there's no adults around and you're somewhere that you can't find an adult or something, talk to someone. Tell anybody who will listen and call 911 right away. Thank you so much for your question. And I see Adam Beck, I'm going to unmute you, and then you can say your question.
This is actually Connor, and he had the similar situation that you had, where there was something in the classroom that had peanuts, and he accidentally ate it, thought it was safe.
Okay, that's a great question. So in that situation, Connor, I would, again, talk to an adult. I would go tell my teacher that I ingested something that has my allergen in it, and I would get my auto injector right away and then follow our emergency action plan. And it is a very common situation, I think, to be in a classroom where allergens might be present. And I think all we have to do is be vocal about it and trust our gut and say either I'm not going to be in this situation, or I'm going to remove myself from this situation. And it's important to learn from situations like this and find out what the product is and why it wasn't safe and how to avoid it in the future, which might mean maybe reading ingredients if it's in a box, or talking to the person who made it and seeing what their baking process is, or maybe it's bringing our own snacks or treats like we talked about before. Any situation like that is definitely something we can take a step back and learn from, I think anyway. All right, so our next question is, how do you avoid anxiety when classmates or teachers eat my allergen around you? So it's important to always be aware when your allergen is around, but keep the risk in perspective. Be extra cautious and maybe keep a distance from it. Avoid using shared supplies, so maybe stick to your own pencils or calculators and rulers and stuff like that. And if you are feeling very uncomfortable, it's important to speak up. So like we've been saying a lot kind of through this session about being vocal, and that's got to be one of the most important things I think to take away from today is if you're uncomfortable, or if you feel awkward, or if you feel like something might not be right, use your voice. Find your voice and say you're uncomfortable and let people know, because they want to know and they're there to help you. So always remember that. Your teachers are always there to help you. Awesome. Thank you so much for that question. All right, so our final question for this round of questions is for me to ask you guys. So what are you most excited about returning to school? So what's the one thing you are super excited about when it comes to getting back to school? And I want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to answer that. I think when I was going back to school, I was most excited to see who is in my class. So which friends of mine were going to be in my classroom that year. So what are you most excited for? So I see a lot of people are saying seeing my friends, which is always super exciting to see your friends every day and learn together. And someone said do math, which I'm so excited to see that everybody is in this group really enjoys math. Well, a lot of us are saying friends. That's definitely a great part of school, is getting to learn and grow with our friends. Someone said seeing my friends and doing my allergy presentation. That's really cool. I hope you picked up some cool stuff for your allergy presentation from tonight. Awesome. Well, I'm super glad to see that you all are very excited to go back to school, and you're looking forward to doing stuff like gym and math, which is really awesome. So for next month's session, our monthly session will be on September 24th, and it will be the same time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the topic is going to be allergies in sports and activities. So you can register today at foodallergycanada.ca. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I really hope you can make it to our next month when we'll be talking about sports and activities. I also want to remind you guys that you can be sure to sign up for our regular Allergy Pals and Allergy Allies program in the fall. So those sessions run for 8 weeks, and you'll get to interact with the same group throughout. It's a ton of fun, and parents, you can register as of September 1st. I want to give a special thanks to the University of Alberta for the original online mentorship program, and TD Securities for their financial support. So please take a second to fill in our survey afterwards. We definitely appreciate all of your feedback. So until next time, have a fun and safe month, and guys, I hope you have a great school year, okay? Thank you so much for everything. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.